John, this is a big deal. What did Jensen have to say?
Yeah, a lot of big news coming out here, Becky, and it's dark and early here in Vegas. I spoke with Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang after his keynote yesterday, after his talk with analysts, where they pressed him on China demand, overall demand, both of which he said remain strong. And I asked him about the rationale behind his Grok licensing deal. We actually ended up talking for about half an hour. Early in the conversation, he addressed open models as part of Nvidia's strategy. Listen.
We're the only AI company in the world working with every AI company in the world. We run every model from OpenAI to this year we announced Anthropic, and I'm very excited about that. Of course, we have the benefit of working with Elon and XAI. We've always been working with Google on Gemini. And so NVIDIA is the only company in the world that runs across every domain of science, every AI company, every AI model. And the only way to do that is to do it openly. If we were to be proprietary in some way, closed in some way, then we'll have the benefit of monetizing the entire layer and the entire stack, but it prevents our ability to be open. And I really love that our company has the ability to work with everybody.
Robotics. It's been a dream part of CES for a long time, but it's also been elusive. I mean, we had iRobot kind of not go in a great direction. Granted, we do have autonomous vehicles now, and those are really robots, I guess, right? We're talking about physical AI. What makes this moment different for robotics in particular? And maybe give me humanoid, because we tend to get very excited about it, but I wonder, too excited?
Excellent, excellent. Timing is everything. We've been thinking about this area for a long time, waiting for that moment. And as in many of the things that we do, whether it's digital biology and turning drug discovery from a discovery process to an engineering process, from a scientific process to a science and engineering process, to self-driving cars, to even the work that we do in computer graphics. Ray tracing is now completely done in real time. It took us 30 years to do it in real time. And so you have to pursue something for a long period of time, looking for that moment where that enabling technology is discovered. In the case of humanoid robotics, let me first say that a computer doesn't know and doesn't care what kind of tokens it's generating. It could be generating a language token, it could be generating a video token, it could be generating a steering wheel activation token, or it could be generating a finger articulation grasp token. The computer in the final analysis is just a bunch of numbers. The moment that I saw generative video, us texting into a prompt, two people sitting, having a conversation. The guy wearing a jacket reaches out, picks up a cup of water and drinks it. I could describe that into a generative AI model today, and you and I both know that Chris, for example, right, with Runway, I could give him that prompt, and he will generate an amazing video. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
And that video has a person reaching out and picking up a cup. Why is that model different than a generative model for a human or robot picking up a cup? The moment I saw that working that well, then the rest of it is still a whole bunch of research, a whole bunch of technology, but you could tell that the enabling technology is just right around the corner.
Tell me how much more performant Vera Rubin is. Because I get questions, got one on Fast Money, how much does it cost? And I guess the flip side of that is, how much value does it deliver?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
You got some charts on the screen behind me, showing the difference in value between Hopper, Blackwell, Rubin. What are some of the most compelling, you think, stats now that you've got these 6 chips in production and you're starting to really pump out some benchmarks?
It comes down, it's a ton of technology and a whole bunch of software, but it comes down to 3 things ultimately.
Okay.
The first thing is this. The big picture is to think about these computers not as supercomputers, but as AI factories. These AI factories are producing what is called tokens, numbers. And so you have to use the factory for 3 things, 3 fundamental things. The first thing is to train your next frontier model so that you could build the best AI, get to market first, So you want to train it as fast as you can. Comparing Blackwell to Rubin, Rubin is a 4x leap. And so that 4x jump, you could either do something in 4 months or do it in 1 month. So it's a very big difference. You could either do something with 4 times as many Blackwells or 1/4 as many. Save a ton of money. You could decide to get to market sooner, or you could train your next generation model cheaper. You decide. And so that's training the model. It's really about the next frontier. The second thing is that you have to generate the tokens as cost effectively as possible, because every single generation, the token costs are coming down.
Okay.
Now, when token cost comes down, you can use more of it. That's a very big deal. And so we need to get the token cost to come down, and Rubin reduces our token cost by a factor of 10 over Blackwell.
How much of that is because of energy efficiency?
It's energy efficiency, it's algorithms, it's chips that go faster. In the world of AI factories, going faster is the same as going cheaper. So fast, getting something done more quickly, costs less to do. And the third thing that we have to do is the overall throughput of that AI factory has to increase, or the revenues of the company that builds that factory doesn't increase. And so we have to make sure that every single generation, we increase it tremendously. In the case of Rubin, the token throughput of an AI factory increases by a factor of 10 times. And so the value is unquestionably incredible. And the reason why we're able to do that, even though the number of transistors we used was only 1.7 times, this is where NVIDIA's ability to integrate and innovate across the CPU, GPU, the GPU, the networking, the switches, the scale-up switch, the scale-out switch, and the data processing engine, we literally innovated across every single chip of the data center. This and Vera Rubin, this generation, every single chip changed. 6 brand new chips, every one of them revolutionary. And it's by co-designing it, it's called co-design. It's basically innovating across everything at one time.
Morgan Stanley claimed that Nvidia's decidedly positive speech highlighted the growing momentum in AI hardware, automotive, and robotics, making the company's new Rubin platform the most notable subject at CES. At what is usually a consumer-focused event, CEO Jensen Huang spent more time with Rubin than anticipated, according to analyst Joseph Moore. Noting that Nvidia placed a strong emphasis on system-level advancements covering GPU, CPU, networking, and software, Morgan Stanley predicted that Rubin will once again lift the standard for performance. Huang also discussed a novel inference memory platform that may increase TPS by up to 5 times when compared to conventional storage, while highlighting new Bluefield DPUs and Rubin CPX solutions. Morgan Stanley also focused on manufacturability, pointing to Nvidia's remarks that Rubin is already in full production and that assembly time has been reduced to 5 minutes from 2 hours for Blackwell. According to the company, significant income is anticipated in the second half of 2026, and the first rack is already being installed. Moore went on to say that Nvidia called the need for AI and Rubin skyrocketing, and that, despite memory still being a major limitation, management did not hedge on supply or demand. Although licensing for the H200 is still ongoing, Nvidia is rumored to have reaffirmed that it still receives demand from China. Morgan Stanley cited Nvidia's automotive developments, such as a new reasoning-enabled autonomous driving model and the impending launch of its Mercedes-Benz Alliance, in addition to data center systems. Regarding AMD, the bank stated that there was nothing novel about MI450, yet testimonies indicate that the AMD product has a thriving ecology. Moore stated, "We didn't hear anything that changes the discussion around AMD stock. The business continues to believe that MI455 is a leading product, and we anticipate a significant ramp in Q3, Q4 of this year, with OpenAI's backing as the anchor customer. Nevertheless, we see AMD's success as partly due to the fact that there is still a huge need for computing power overall, as opposed to an emerging TCO advantage over the competition. This needs to change if NVIDIA is to continue pushing the boundaries of the entire technological stack in order to see long-term success. For investors, NVIDIA has been the constant gift. In 2023, 2024, and 2025, the stock price tripled, doubled, and saw another market-beating 40% rise. The stock is only 25 times this year's consensus earnings forecast and 46 times trailing earnings going into 2026, despite that remarkable bull run. This pricing creates the possibility of another year of significant returns for owners, even though there are hazards to be aware of. The growth potential of Nvidia are still appealing. The corporation faces dangers that are causing Nvidia's stock price to decline. Wall Street is taking into consideration both the growing competition in the AI chip market and the possibility of a slowdown in investment on AI infrastructure. The good news for Nvidia is that top cloud service providers continue to report that demand for compute capacity exceeds supply. All of Nvidia's graphics processing units, GPUs, are being purchased by its cloud clients. Agentic AI, which can organize and carry out tasks on behalf of the user, may make a big breakthrough in the coming year. Compared to a chatbot, these sophisticated models can require up to 1,000 times as many calculations. Nvidia's NVLink 72 rack system, which is perfect for powering AI agents, may see an increase in demand as a result. Analysts predict that Nvidia's revenue will rise by 50% this year to over $319 billion, and that the company's earnings per share would rise 61% to $7.57. By the end of 2026, the stock's share price might reach over $300 if it continues to trade at the same trailing price-to-earnings multiple of 46. Compared to the current share price of $180, this indicates a gain of more than 50%. The next-generation Vera Rubin superchip was unveiled by AI giant Nvidia on Monday at CES 2026 in Las Vegas. Vera Rubin, one of 6 processors that make up what Nvidia is now calling its Rubin platform, combines a single Vera CPU with 2 Rubin GPUs. Nvidia claims that the Rubin platform is ideal for mixture of experts, MOE models, agentic AI, and sophisticated reasoning models. These models combine a number of expert AIs and direct user inquiries to the right one based on the question. According to a statement from Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang, Rubin arrives at precisely the right moment, as AI computing demand for both training and inference is going through the roof. Rubin makes a huge step forward toward the next frontier of AI with our yearly cycle of delivering a new generation of AI supercomputers and extreme co-design across 6 new chips. Following the introduction, Nvidia shares saw a modest increase in pre-market trading on Tuesday. The Rubin platform comprises 4 additional networking and storage chips: the Nvidia NVLink 6-switch, Nvidia Connect X9 Super NIC, Nvidia Bluefield 4 DPU, and Nvidia Spectrum 6 Ethernet switch, in addition to the Vera CPU and Rubin GPUs. Nvidia's Vera Rubin NVL72 server, which integrates 72 GPUs onto a single device, can then contain all of it. When multiple NVL72s are combined, Nvidia's DGX SuperPod, a sort of enormous AI supercomputer, is created. Hyperscalers such as Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and the social network behemoth Meta are investing billions of dollars to acquire these massive systems. Additionally, Nvidia is promoting its AI storage, Nvidia Inference Context Memory Storage, which it claims is essential for storing and sharing data produced by multi-step and trillion-parameter reasoning AI models. The goal of all of this is to increase the Rubin platform's efficiency over Nvidia's Grace Blackwell product from the previous generation. The business claims that compared to Blackwell systems, Rubin will result in a 4x reduction in the number of GPUs required to train the same MOE. By reducing the quantity of GPUs, businesses might employ the extra units to carry out various activities, increasing productivity. According to Nvidia, Rubin also lowers inference token costs by 10 times. In AI models, tokens stand in for words, phrases, pictures, and videos. Tokenization is the technique by which models divide complex ideas into more manageable chunks. However, processing tokens requires a lot of resources, which means it uses a lot of energy, particularly when working with large AI models. Reducing token prices could enhance Rubin's total cost of ownership in comparison to its predecessors. According to Nvidia, the Rubin platform is in full production and has been sampled with partners. With a valuation of almost $4.6 billion, Nvidia is now the largest business in the world by market cap thanks to its chip lead. Its market capitalization surged to almost $5 trillion in October, but worries about AI spending and ongoing concerns about an AI ecosystem bubble caused its valuation to drop to its present level. Along with its own clients, the company is also up against increased competition from rival AMD, which is introducing its own Helios rack-scale systems to counter the NVIDIA Link 72. Anthropic will increase its usage of Google's and Amazon's proprietary processors, which the AI startup currently employs to power its Claude platform, according to announcements made in October. Anthropic is owned by both Google and Amazon. Additionally, the information claims that Google is discussing the usage of the search engine giant's chips in its data centers with Meta and other cloud providers. However, it is unlikely that AMD or its own clients will overthrow Nvidia in the near future. It will be much harder for them to catch up if it can maintain its annual release schedule. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.